What is going on, Pats Nation? You guys already know who it is. Patriots Couple back here with another video. And boy, is he back. Let's go, baby. Trey Flowers is once again home, and he's finally back to the New England Patriots. Now, granted, he's back to the Patriots a few years later than realistically he should have been. This idea of pay Trey Flowers never worked up until he was basically the back end of his career. But nonetheless, the Patriots are bringing back former big-time New England Patriots player. I think he won 2 Super Bowls with us. Yes, 2-time Super Bowl champion Trey Flowers was here for Super Bowl 51, was here for Super Bowl 53, and even that loss in Super Bowl 52. This move does bring a couple of questions, and I think we all have these same questions on why now, what does this mean, and what's kind of the outlook for Trey Flowers as really we start the season, the regular season, in about a month, and training camp is practically over. So we are going to break all that down in today's video. I see we have a little bit of lag. Just roll with me. We had some storms last night. But before we hop into today's video, make sure you guys do leave a massive like on today's video. Yes, you guys just leaving a like is the best way at supporting the channel. This isn't like Instagram or anything like that where you leave a like and it's just for fun and looks. You guys leaving a like actually does something for this channel and its growth, because by you commenting, sharing the video, and especially liking, tells YouTube that, hey, this channel is pretty good. They're going to push it out into the algorithm. They're going to basically help this channel grow. And that's all by you guys interacting by commenting, sharing, and liking the video. It takes less than a second. It would mean the world to me if you guys did that. But without further ado, let's roll that Patriots Global intro and hop into today's one about Trey Flowers back to the Patriots, baby. Let's go. Familiar face here in Foxborough. Like I said, he was a big reason that the Patriots won multiple Super Bowls and even went 2-3 Super Bowls within that 5-year span. He was basically Matthew Judon for the Patriots before Matthew Judon was a thing. He was the Patriots' best pass rusher. He was their leading sack leader like every single year that he was on this team. And before that kind of time period, before it was Judon and Trey Flowers, we were in this middle part where we had no true pass rusher, and it definitely hindered the Patriots. They tried to sign like an Adrian Claiborne. It didn't work out. Then they signed Judon in 21, and it just made such an impactful difference. Now, one thing that surprised me about Trey Flowers is that he's not even 30 years old yet. He's still 29. And I could have sworn, if you asked me, even yesterday, before he signed, how old's Trey Flowers? I would be like, oh, this dude's definitely like in his 30s, right? Because I feel like it's been a decade alone since he played here in Foxborough, let alone started his career. But no, Trey Flowers is still an outstanding 29 years old. He will be hitting his 30s in just a couple of weeks, though, because he will be 30 later on this month. This is the second time the Patriots had met with Trey Flowers. The first time was back on Monday, and that was his second of the offseason. The first time that they brought him in for a workout was back in March during that whole free agency pool. He was still a free agent after playing for Miami last year. Patriots obviously brought him in, felt like they didn't need him, and are now, right before the start of the season, deciding to bring him in for a workout and signing him pretty much instantaneously after his workout did conclude. Interestingly enough, back about a year ago, when the Detroit Lions decided to release him, before he signed with Miami, the Patriots also brought him in for a workout and decided not to sign him. So there's clearly been a lot of interest in the Patriots and Trey Flowers, but nothing has gotten done up until this point. Now, 6'2", 265 pounds, he is going to be back in a place where he's known how to be utilized. And I mean that very seriously because you look at Trey Flowers' statistics with the Patriots, they always stood out. He was always a difference maker. In 2016, he put up 7 sacks with the Patriots, 2017, 6.5, 2018, 7.5. His first year with Detroit in 2019 was still good. He wasn't as productive, but he did look like he was still going to be worth the massive bag that Matt Patricia at the time had gave him with the Lions. He put up 7 sacks with Detroit in 2019, and really ever since 2019, Trey Flowers has taken a dip, right? He's not been the same player. That's essentially what led to his release with Detroit. Only a year with Miami where he pretty much got no playing time. But in 2020, put up only 2 sacks, played in 7 games. With Detroit in 2021, 1.5 sacks, appears in 7 games. This past year with Miami, appears in 4 games, 0 sacks. The problem with him early on with Detroit was just his inability to stay healthy. As time went on, obviously they got a new head coach. Their scheme changed up a little bit. They had new bodies there to, basically have to build around the fact that he was never on the field. And he basically just got pushed and pushed and pushed down the depth chart there. With Miami, he barely got any playing time. In fact, I can tell you exactly how much snap counts he got last year. With Miami last year, he played a total of 24% of their defensive snaps. He just was a guy that was really barely ever in the rotation. And the good thing about Trey Flowers is that unlike some of these guys the Patriots have had to try to have in here, Chase Winovich and Adrian Claiborne, he was very good at rushing the passer, but playing in multiple different alignments. There was times he played within the interior of the defense. He played a lot on the edge, obviously. There were times he even played linebacker, stand-up linebacker, and dropped back into coverage, right? Like we're talking about Keion White, and we're going to talk about all of them here in a few minutes. And we're kind of comparing them to some Patriots in the past. Keion White is very similar to what a Trey Flowers can do, especially so far with how they are utilizing Keion White is very similar to what they did with Trey Flowers. But just his ability to rush the passer, his ability to make an impact on stopping the run from every standpoint was such an impactful player for the Pats. And that concludes to me wanting to pull up here the Patriots' current depth chart. See where it is. Share my screen for you guys real quick. Here we go. Make sure you guys can see that. Can you guys see that? No, you guys cannot. Work with me here. There we go. Boom. Okay, so this is the Patriots' current depth chart. They even already have Trey Flowers on here. ESPN is quick, but you look at the depth the Patriots have. Lawrence Guy, Devon Godchow, Dietrich Wise. For the most part, those are going to be our interior guys. Dietrich Wise will hop from the interior to playing edge a little bit. DeMarcus Mitchell is a guy that if he makes it, it's going to be for special teams. He honestly might not even make the roster. I'm not worried about Jeremiah Farms. You kind of look over here with Christian Barmore. He's obviously going to be a starting defensive tackle too. Justice Devine is pretty much out of here. But then you have Keion White. He's obviously going to make the roster. I like to believe that Daniel Quale will likely make the roster due to his impactful ability to rush the passer. I don't think Sam Roberts overall makes this roster. Matthew Judon's going to make this roster. Anthony Jennings is likely going to make this roster also. And then you have guys like Josh Uche, obviously going to make the roster. And then Ronnie Perkins probably at this point is off. With that being said, you look at the amount of interior and even just defensive linemen in general you have, you already know that guys like Matthew Judon and Josh Uche, those are going to be guys that are going to be playing the majority of your snaps. So where does Trey Flowers really come in, especially when you mix in the factor that he's really not going to be playing within the interior of the defensive line? Because, again, you have Devon Godchow, you have Dietrich Wise, you have Christian Barmore, right? You have Lawrence Guy if he stays. So there's already a lot of bodies there that have been here already, unlike Trey Flowers, who is ultimately just getting here. So I think that is probably the biggest question about this signing is why now? Why are we doing this a couple days before our first preseason game rather than signing Trey Flowers early on? Trey Flowers could have pushed for a roster spot or been an impactful player because he's better than DeMarcus Mitchell, Jeremiah Farms. He's better than Justice Tavai. He's better than Daniel Quale. I would say it's probably a little bit of a better pass rusher at this point, but a better all-around lineman is Trey Flowers. He's better than Sam Roberts. He's better than Anthony Jennings. So Again, I'm just not completely sure what the outlook is, unless my one thought here, as I try to get back on screen, my one thought is, well, okay, maybe the Patriots are just saying, maybe one of their guys is expendable. And I doubt that that happens, but we all know that at the end of the season or the end of the preseason is when roster cutdowns occur. And we always see some surprise cuts. We see some surprise trades. Patriots are always in the mix for those situations also. Maybe they make a guy like Josh Uche expendable. And ultimately, I don't think that's the case here. But you got to think that them bringing on Trey Flowers here is for a reason. My other thought on why they could be doing this is maybe they're trying to help out Trey Flowers, right? Maybe they just need a guy. Maybe they need some bodies here, some extra bodies to play in these joint practices, to play in these preseason games, see what Trey Flowers still has under their system, and then say, hey, you performed well in practice. You balled out in the preseason. We're not going to sign you. We're too stacked. But because of how you performed, another team is going to sign you. Those are really my two predictions on ultimately what they're going to do. It would surprise me if they signed Trey Flowers right before the start of the season and he ends up ultimately making this roster. It would be a big surprise to me. But the fact that they're signing him, again, this late on, ultimately was a massive surprise to me. But what are your guys' thoughts on the Patriots signing Trey Flowers back? Let me know in the comment section below. It could also be a situation where they end up releasing him, but try to bring him back on the practice squad because, again, Trey Flowers, since being released by the Detroit Lions back in 2021, really has had no interest in the league except for that 1 year he spent with Miami, and they essentially kept him on the bench the entire time. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember to leave a big like on this video, and of course, subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news. I appreciate you guys for watching, and never forget,